Well, what I do think, in my personal opinion, is there are people within the Proud Boys organization that are very bad people. They're very hateful people. And I think if you wake up in the morning and you decide to protest because there's drag queen reading, that makes you an imbecile. I think if you're the type of person that never served in this country,
kids is wrong no matter who you
are. No.
Drag queen story hour for drag queens with their boobs out, reading to 7 and 8-year-old kids.
Okay, let's talk about that. Children. That's called indecent exposure. Can you name me a case right now?
I could show. You know what? I'll bring the receipts and I'll show you the pictures of these drag queens.
No. I didn't ask you for pictures. Was anybody? Okay. Was anybody? Can you name me one child that's ever been harmed at a drag queen reading?
Oh, every child that goes to a drag queen reading, yes. Every single one that goes to a drag queen story hour reading is a child that has been sexualized in one way or another. Yes,
not true. Have you ever, Enrique? Have you ever been to a drag queen reading before? Enrique, have you ever?
I don't want to go to one because I
hold on a second.
Somebody in the face for sexualizing.
Hold on a second. Yes, the guy who's telling me that every single drag queen reading a child is sexualized just told me, number one, he's never been to a drag queen reading. Well, guess what, Enrique?
Why would I go to a drag queen reading?
Because you don't know what you're talking about. That's why.
I do know what you're talking about. People that are sick in the head are sitting there with their fake boob.
That's not true. You don't know what you're talking about, dude. Enrique, I went to a drag queen reading. Listen to me. Nothing sexual. I went to the whole thing. It was 3 hours. What are you talking about? No boobs were out. Every child was treated with respect. And the only thing they said was, be kind to people. Be happy for who you are. Geez, what a horrible message. When you make
it is a horrible message. It is a horrible message.
That would be like me saying every person on January 6th beat cops. No, I would never say that because it's not true. You're saying that every drag queen reading,
you just said that an entire group is a hate group. Right. And you're and you can't even name what we hate.
Southern Poverty Law Center labeled the Proud Boys a hate group. I'm going by what
in my opinion is a hate group. And then you quoted the Southern Poverty Law Center, dude.
Well, yeah, because I mean, are they biased? Are they biased?
Who's biased? The SPLC?
I mean, you tell me. Are they biased? I mean, are they just
wrong? They're definitely wrong. So what do the Proud Boys hate? This is a legitimate question. What is
and
it?
I'm answering it. I'm giving you
in order to be a hate group, you have to hate a person for being a specific race or specific religion. Do we hate? I don't know. Do we hate Jews?
Don't you think that's a little bit more important than transgenders in sports and drag queen rating? The fact that 15 million Americans are going to be losing their Medicaid coverage, the fact that people are going to lose their food stamps, and you say he's doing okay?
With that right now, men are playing in men's sports and women are playing in women's
Donald
sports.
Trump didn't do it. Okay, so listen, there was an executive order. Do you know how many Joe Biden gave the right to the schools to make their own decisions. But do you know how many Division I college athletes there are that are trans in this country? Do you have any idea?
It's really rare. I'm going to assume that the trans community.
So that's an important issue. So that's an important issue to do. Donald Trump is doing an okay job because thank God they got that trans woman off that volleyball team. That's the second thing you listed. Number one was immigration. Hold on, I gave you the opportunity. Number one was the border, and then we both agreed that there's things he's doing with deporting people that you disagree with. So certainly you don't like everything he's doing with the border. And then I ask you to name something else because you think he's doing an okay job, and you want to talk about trans people. How the hell does that affect you?
Below average. I think he's doing below average.
But you said he's doing okay. You haven't. Give me something. Give me something else. Don't talk to me about trans kids. That's like not even a top 20 issue. What is he doing? That's okay. Tell me.
It kind of like I said again, there's parents and there's who don't want to be seeing their athlete be competing in that and having it being.
That is not okay. So first of all, that is not a top 20 issue. There are literally single digits of the amount of trans people that are in college sports. There are also very, very small percentage of them that are playing middle school and high school sports. Okay. That is not a top 20 issue in this country. And you say he's doing an okay job. Tell me something else. You talked about immigration. We agree to disagree on some things. The trans issue is almost a non-issue in this country. based on every poll out there. Give me something else that you think he's doing that's quote unquote okay.
Like there was like drag storytelling, like two kids like whose parents disagreed with, and like
drag. What's the policy there? What's that policy?
And it was going on in Joe Biden's administration, like
Okay, well, he didn't ban. Okay, so first of all, he didn't ban drag queen reading, but I'm happy to talk to you about that. Can you name me a situation where any child was killed or harmed by drag queen reading?
It could, there could be somebody.
No. I didn't ask. No. I didn't ask you. There could be. I'm asking you a very specific question. For example, if you talk to me about guns, I can tell you it's the second leading cause of death in children under the age of 16. Can you name me one child that was killed by going to drag queen reading, even physically harmed? Can you name me one?
Okay, but can I finish?
I'd like you to answer my question, please, and then you can.
And I will answer the question.
So please do.
Best of my ability that I possibly can.
Please do.
But again, okay, thank you. Like what I wanted to say was, like, for example, like if the parent, the child could tell their parents that could not tell their parents that what, I'm gay, or
I'm not. That's X. The question isn't what they're telling their parents. Okay. And by the way, the idea that drag queen reading, they tell their kids to be transgender is a lie. Maybe out of 1,000 drag queen readings, one person might have said something, or two people might have said something inappropriate. The point I'm trying to make to you is you don't want to talk about gun control. You don't want to talk about healthcare, about how 15. Hold on a second. You don't want to talk about the fact that Donald Trump, because of the big. Hold on. Let me finish. Donald Trump, the big and beautiful bill where 15 million people are going to lose their health care coverage. People are going to lose their food stamps. The biggest tax breaks for the top 1%. The fact that the National Guard is being called in. We're headed towards martial law, and he's breaking parts of our own Constitution. You don't want to talk about any of that stuff. But the second most important thing to you, the second thing that's most important to you is trans kids in sports. The third thing that's most important to you is drag queen reading. Sir, that's ridiculous.
That's in the second.
Name me. Okay, you didn't answer my question. Name me one child that was killed from drag queen reading. You told me you would answer it. Now answer it. I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
There hasn't been any reported.
Thank you. So you put exactly. Thank you. Okay. Has there been any child, to your knowledge, that you know of that's ever been physically harmed at drag queen reading? I'll accept your pause as a no. Do you have any evidence that drag queen reading has converted a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old to be transgender, and then a week later they got transgender surgery? Do you have any evidence to prove that?
I've heard people do it.
I've heard people do it. I didn't ask you what you've heard. I've heard people say the earth is flat. That means nothing. So you've heard something, so you think it's a problem. So if I heard that you were a pedophile, does that mean that you're a pedophile? I didn't ask you what you heard, sir. I'm asking for evidence. I didn't hear. Hold on a second. I didn't hear that the second leading cause in death in children under the age of 16 was gun control. I didn't just hear that. That's according to the FBI. What is your source that children got? What is your source that children got transgender surgery because of going to a drag reading? Because you're lying. Who told you that? Because they're wrong. It's nothing but hearsay.
People died. I never said people died.
I didn't say that either. You said children have changed their gender because of going to a drag queen reading, which is ridiculous. You have no evidence to prove that.
I didn't mean it like that. I said, for example, let's say if my kid wanted to change his gender, the school could not inform me about it.
Okay, that's a hypothetical. I don't know why that would harm you or your kids, and you're giving me another hypothetical. You talk to me about drag queen reading. You talked to me about drag queen reading. That was the third thing that you mentioned. You couldn't name me one child and evidence of one child that has ever been harmed from drag queen reading, yet you bring that up. Do you realize how ridiculous that is?
Can I continue? Please.
Please. What? You're the one who brought it up, not me. We had a civil conversation about immigration.
Because there's like I said again, the big beautiful bill.
You think it's big and beautiful? You think it's terrible? Okay. So don't you think that's a little bit more important than drag queen reading? Don't you think that's a little bit more important than transgenders in sports and drag queen rating? The fact that 15 million Americans are going to be losing their Medicaid coverage, the fact that people are going to lose their food stamps, and you say he's doing okay? Have a nice day, sir. I appreciate the call. I appreciate the call, sir. This is the problem with people that are brainwashed. They think that drag queen reading is an issue. They think that transgenders in sports is a more important issue than healthcare, than people losing their food stamps. Give me a break.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Hey.
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Hey, real quick, I just wanted to touch in on the cross-dressing. When I went to high school, and I'm not going to say no names because I don't want no flack. When I went to high school, my math teacher and my history teacher, he would dress like a woman.
Okay.
Those are two of the subjects I'm the best at. He made the class fun. He made the class interesting. He made the class intriguing. And I don't understand how people think just because somebody doesn't wear penny loafers, they prefer to wear a blouse, can't teach your children. I just don't understand that.
Why do you think they do that? Why do you think they attack somebody who, for example, is a cross-dresser, or somebody who is transgender, or somebody who might be gay? Why do you think so many on the far right mock people like one of your teachers back when you were in high school? Why do you think that is?
Because it seems to me, and this is just my personal opinion, Brian, that these people are very unhappy, very angry, and very upset. When I look at people who cross-dress or homosexuals, whatever they want to say, because they can live their life, they seem happy. They seem jovial. They're enjoying their life. They're not letting nothing slow them down. Misery loves company.
You're so right. By the way, the word gay means happy. let's just call it for what it is.
I'm happy all the time.
Yeah, listen, I was raised very differently than some of these MAGA deplorables. For example, I was raised to respect people regardless of whether they might look different from you, or sexuality might be different than you. And more importantly, this doesn't affect us in a negative way. Gay people don't affect me in a negative way. Transgenders don't affect me in a negative way. In fact, I'll be honest with you. I struggle sometimes with fashion and dressing, and I've had people who happen to be gay who have done a very good job in helping me in that category. Listen, the bottom line here is this. It comes down to bigotry, right? And I think you hit the nail on the head. If you're very miserable in your own life and you're very unhappy, example, some of the people who attack the gay community the most are usually people who are gay themselves that are afraid to come out of the closet. The people.
Thank you.
Absolutely. As some of the most religious people are some of the biggest sinners. The evangelical right predominantly supports Donald Trump, a man who's cheated on every woman he's ever had, a guy who has gone into teenage locker rooms for sexual reasons. He admitted that. Somebody who is a 34-count felon.
Bragged about it, Brian.
Exactly.
Bragged about it.
He bragged about it. You're absolutely right. But they're worried about transgenders going into bathrooms, yet they voted for a guy who wanted to look at a bunch of 14 and 15-year-old teenage girls naked. These are some of the biggest hypocrites in the world. They are very unhappy with their own lives, and they want to blame Democrats and liberals and people who are gay and trans people for all the issues that they have in their life. They are despicable human beings. They are some of the dumbest people that America has to offer, and I will continue to call them out every single day.
Real quick, Brian, before you let me go, and I agree with everything you said. I think that it's hard to say ignore it. You know how you're raised, like if you ignore it, it goes away. I think what we have to do is we have to document, pay attention, and vote. When it comes time to vote, vote. All this talking about we're unhappy and look what's going on, it's because people didn't vote. Now, I'm not a Democrat, I'm an independent, but I understand the flow of everything. I heard so many people saying, well, Kamala doesn't deserve a vote. Why doesn't she deserve a vote? She was voted in as vice president. The president, being a man of honor, Biden I'm talking about, stepped down because his constituents didn't think he could do the job. That's what a man of honor does. Hey, look, people are saying I can't do it. I'm going to give it to my vice president.
Right.
So I think we live in a country that people are still racist and bigoted because they prefer to see a fascist white man than a black woman who would have helped the country. And I got to go with that, Brian.
Yep.
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
I love your show. I
Thank
watch
you.
it every day.
Thank you, sir. That means a lot. I really appreciate you. To kind of piggyback on what you just said, the bottom line is that there are a lot of people in this country that did not vote for Kamala Harris because she's a woman. Now, they'll make excuses. They'll say that she slept her way to the top. They'll say that she, they'll make fun of her cackle, but they won't come up with anything credible, if you notice. But they'll just make the argument that she's not intelligent. They'll make the argument that she slept her way to the top, which, by the way, is not true. Duly elected twice in San Francisco with the highest job that an attorney could ever have. Then she was elected to be a senator. Joe Biden picked her as his vice president. Last I checked, they won. They won the ticket. Now, it would have been nice if Joe Biden stepped aside earlier. It would have been nice if Kamala had a little bit more time to introduce herself to the American people as a presidential candidate. That didn't happen. We understand that. But make no mistake about it. There are a lot of bigots in this country. There are a lot of people that won't vote for a woman to be the next president of the United States.